Welcome to 28 Days and Beyond, where we are celebrating our history, our heritage, our culture, and our own authentic voice. And we have the distinct honor once again of bringing a great guest to the set. Welcome to the set, OJ Spivey. How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing?
He does a couple things. We're going to get in it, man.
Glad to be here.
Hey, give people a snapshot of who you are and your background, like where you grew up and all those good things.
Well, sure. I grew up in the Cobbs Creek section of West Philadelphia. Well, if you're familiar, that's sort of like the cut in between border of southwest Philly.
Yeah.
So that area. Kind of grew up with I was sort of like the last of that old school. I was brought up the old way.
Yeah.
My grandparents were very active in my life. I lived with them for most of my childhood. The neighborhood itself, it was older folks, well respected. Sort of like if you messed up, the whole neighborhood knew about it, and they told on you. But it gave me a lot of good grounding and everything. I have a huge family, so just that whole area. Most of my other family, they're from the Southwest Homewood area, so I'm just fully born and bred, and I just have it embedded in me.
Now, and one of the things people may not know about Philadelphia is very neighborhood centric, like based on blocks.
Absolutely.
So in that Cobbs Creek area,
yes.
What was it like going to other sections? Man, you from Cobbs Creek, man. It's like you're from a foreign city. How was that?
It was, especially, again, growing up on the West Philly side, when I went deep into Southwest Philly, they kind of knew when you wasn't from there. And even when I went up to the north side, on the other side of the L, Market Street and everything, they kind of knew you wasn't from there, Haddington area. So even when I grew up playing basketball, I played a lot of rec league baseball, going up to Haddington, playing those guys. We were down on at Sherwood Recreation Center near Baltimore Avenue. So they knew we were from the south side, they're from the north side. So it was a friendly rivalry and everything. But yeah, you kind of knew the sense. And even so, when I grew up, the gang warring that was heavy in Philadelphia, that was on its way out. So even the old heads who I grew up around, they knew where you were from, who you were with, who your brothers were, who your sister was. So the neighborhoods were very heavy, especially back in those days.
Now they say most people from Philadelphia don't travel far. So I don't know if
very provincial, yes.
Very
and
provincial.
I'm one of them.
Is you one of them?
Yes, I'm very provincial.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm sure you have traveled some.
Yes.
Now think about it this way. So you don't live now where you grew up at, right?
Yeah.
So when you came,
I'm still in the city though.
You're still in the city,
yes.
okay. But how much is different now that you came back, looking at it from an objective point of view?
Well, it's different because of number one, generation gap. Again, I was saying I'm sort of like grew up in one of the last sort of old school guys, and we have Generation X, then Generation Next. Now we have millennials, so it's a different there. And I think Philadelphia now we have a lot more folks who are transplants who are coming into the city, because before, you just had your locals, and nobody wanted anyone new here, or no one wanted to come here. But the city has changed a lot, business-wise, culture-wise. It's become a food haven. The schools have been very prominent, especially colleges, I should say. So it's changed a lot, even just by coming in and out of the city, going to other places. And Philadelphia is now a destination. It's a tourist destination. Not even more so for the museums, but again for like food and other things of that nature. So it's really changed a lot, and I think it's changed for the better.
Now, did a little background check on you. Now we're going to unpack some third rail issues.
Okay.
Now you host your own show. Got to tell people that.
Yes.
Tell people the show you host.
Word on Sports, 900 AM WRD, right here in Philadelphia. We're on Saturdays from 12 to 1. So, we get in depth to sports. Love what I do. Have a sports background. So, love talking about sports with the people, Philly sports, and all around. So,
So let me ask you this, Mr. Sports Guy. Sports commentator, folk calling in on the show.
Yes.
Because you take call-ins, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Take call-ins.
Yep.
So,
intelligent callers, too.
So why do you think race is still an issue when it comes to sports?
Well, race is still an issue, basically because I think it's the evolution of television that has a big part of it, because when you look back in past years, all those sports was always on TV for the last 50, 60 years. the athletes where football, NFL, NBA, it's majority black. You get to see these guys on television more. And I think you have a new age of the athlete to where back in the day, Muhammad Ali or someone like that, he was really like one of the individual prominent guys who was more flamboyant. But nowadays, a lot of other players are flamboyant. They want to be seen, and that comes off the wrong way. It's a generation gap as well, cultural gap as well, and a lot of traditional sports fans still have a problem adjusting to that. But it's changing rapidly, but everybody has to adjust to it because this is the faces of the NFL, faces of the NBA.
Yeah. Now, they use a word to describe Cam Newton, and I'm going to remain objective because I'm the host.
Okay.
You don't have to.
Sure.
But they use the word polarized. Cam Newton is polarizing. Do you think they just put that label on him as opposed to they making it polarized? I mean, what's your thoughts? Because it was Cam Newton, and as you see, some things are coming out with Peyton Manning. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts on that when they...
Polarizing is a funny word. I don't think it really applies to Cam Newton. Polarizing, again, it goes to not being used to your traditional quarterback, so to speak. Quarterbacks are supposed to be field generals when it comes in between the lines, but no sidebar, no dapping, no dancing, no celebrating when you get a first down, no celebrating when you get a touchdown. The old saying, act like you've been there before. So he doesn't do any of that. He's a millennial quarterback. We talked about millennials before. He's a millennial athlete, a millennial football player, and he expresses himself the way a lot of regular young 25-year-old guys and even women as well express themselves nowadays. So he's the part of the face of the NFL, and again, as opposed to your Peyton Mannings of the world, your Tom Brady's of the world, a lot of people have trouble adjusting to that.
Well, Aaron Rodgers did take the Freddie Mitchell discount double check championship belt thing. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, he does, and made a lot of money off of it.
The 4th and 27. I'm just letting y'all know.
Yes.
So here's another question that's chopping at my bit right here.
Sure.
So hockey, right?
Yes.
They fight. Basketball players, Ron Artest, that whole time that happened, went into the stand. Why is that perceived differently when people in the hockey fight? That's a part of the culture. But when people in basketball, any other sport they fight, it seems barbaric or whatever the case. So what's your point feel about that?
Well, hockey is a tough sport to break into. Nowadays, they are trying to phase out fighting in hockey somewhat, but it's so much tradition with hockey. And again, it's not really an American sport. It's a Canadian sport. It comes from that macho world where you have to be tough. Most of the hockey players, they don't have any teeth, so that's at least their front teeth, so it's a badge of honor. So hockey just has that narrative, that tough guy narrative, as opposed to the NBA. It's supposed to be a non-contact sport. You're supposed to play the game the right way, passing, moving without the ball. It's supposed to be a lot of grace, as opposed to where hockey is. It's a tough guy sport. It's very physical. When you go to a hockey game, you hear it, you feel it. But basketball, again, is not. It's not so the way traditionalists perceive it to be nowadays when you see your LeBron James, and then you see, hotheads like a Ron Artest or, going back to a Vernon Maxwell. Again, that's just that new narrative, that new out of tradition, out of the box, what we're seeing with the NBA.
What are some of those hotbed subjects and the call-ins that you get on? What are some heated conversation you get on when people call in on your show, or controversial topics?
Well, I can go back a couple weeks around Super Bowl time with Cam Newton. Just as far as he's too flamboyant, or he's not flamboyant enough. I've even had some of my callers who are mostly African American not like his antics. So they want him to be more like Barry Sanders was, when he scored a touchdown, hand the ball to the referee. So, but the majority of our callers, they're in Cam Newton's camp. They see how he's perceived as a quarterback, athlete, not so much intelligent, but when they hear the announcers talk about Peyton Manning, talk about Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, as you mentioned, they're students of the game, they're field generals, they're masters when they're on the field. They know how to command a huddle. They're hollering and screaming at their teammates, but Cam Newton's out there just having fun. A quarterback's not supposed to have fun, you know, in some people's eyes. But Cam Newton has fun. He loves what he's doing. He loves his job. I mean, how can you get criticized for loving your job? So.
Well, look,
Yeah.
we once again we out of time. I had 3 more in the clip for him. Hey, before we close out, tell people a good way to how they can get in contact with you and
Sure.
how they can tune into your show.
Yes, so you can tune into our show every Saturday from noon to 1 p.m., 900 a.m. WURD. We're online at WURD.com. We live stream the station and the show as well. And you can follow me on Twitter just simply at OJ Philly. That's the best way to contact me.
The other OJ. Hey, thank you once again for tuning in with 28 Days and Beyond, where we celebrate our history, our heritage, and our culture in our own authentic voice. And we once again would like to thank OJ Spivey coming to the set. Thank you for coming to the set.
Thanks again. Look.